Hello again. Here is the long-awaited return of Shpo from almost a year since my last post. Now, this video, as you can tell by the timestamp, is a short, but I do promise that I have other videos in the works, like an update to my first look video about shikitaigu. By the title, you are probably wondering, a new word? Yes, it is an English word I synthesized with the power of classical compounding. But before I get to the word, I want to give the background for why I created the word. I was talking with somebody about the Ukomno'om language, better known as Yuki. I told them I am getting in the habit of using their endonym rather than the exonym because their exonym was bestowed upon them by a neighbor, the Wintu, and means enemy. The person I was talking to was surprised by this fact, but I explained that this is quite common. In the course of colonization, the colonizing Europeans would ask one group the name of another without considering that the group that they were talking to might not be on good terms at the time the question was posed with the group that they are trying to get the name of. I asked the person if they were familiar with the Ho-Chunk. They said no, but they were familiar with the Winnebago. I explained that the name Winnebago is the same thing, where it means the people of the murky waters, or perhaps the people of the swampy or foul waters, while the endonym Ho-Chunk means the people of the big voice. Following this conversation, I began thinking about this rather common phenomenon and realized that there is not really a term to describe it. At first, I thought, perhaps I just verb a proper noun of a people affected by the phenomenon, but after thinking about this idea, I realized three problems. 1, such an action would divorce the name from the people who own it. 2, if English speakers wanted to verb for some other meaning, the proper noun of the people already verbed for the purposes of describing the phenomenon under discussion, such a verbing would likely be confusing because the proper noun has already been verbed for a meaning likely at great variance to that of the secondary verbing at a later date. 3rd, such an act of verbing could be seen as preferential to one particular people's experience with the phenomenon over another's. In light of these problems with zero deriving a verb for the purposes of describing this misnaming phenomenon, it was clear to me that I needed to make something entirely new. The phenomenon is a particular kind of exonym, so I knew it would include something to do with the existing classical compound of exonym. The first thing I did was consider what the meaning of the extra root should be. I decided the additional root should mean insult or something along those lines because the kind of exonym I am trying to specifically describe is at best unflattering to those described. Next, I searched the internet for an ancient Greek to English dictionary. I found one. I command F for the word insult and found IKEA, insult outrage. I took down my new root, then went to the Wikipedia page on classical compounds to see how I was supposed to transcribe the letter kappa. The triumphant result of my labors, 15 minutes of Google searches, is the word this video is all about, exonym. This word is to specifically describe the kind of exonym itself. However, from this word can come the noun for the general idea, exosynomy, and the adjective exosynymic. Now, in my Wiktionary-style entry, I provide tense and lax pronunciations of the word pertaining to unstressed O. And as you can already tell, I favor the lax pronunciation. I thought about suggesting an unstressed yod coalescence pronunciation with the CI pronounced sha, like the TI in words ending with TION. However, I am not sure that early modern English sound change occurs in anglicized Greek terms, though I am not a prescriptivist, and so you may pronounce it whatever way is consistent with English spelling. Well, that is all for this video. I hope you find this word useful. I can assure you that I will be making good use of it and its derivations. Thank you for watching.